and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I am so glad that we can be outdoors yet again with the birds and the bees. It's a mitzvah on Shabbat, and the shade and the spotted lantern flies, and a chance to be together in this beautiful courtyard, in this most beautiful garden, to be able to offer our prayers this evening. Okay, so it has to do a little bit with the renovations that are taking place upstairs and aren't going exactly as quickly as we had hoped. There are a few things going on, but it allows us to be outdoors, and that's what matters. We are grateful to have those with us in the sacred virtual community. We've tried to arrange things this evening that you might be able to hear us and pray with us as well. This evening we're using our outdoor Shabbat in the Park prayer book, and I would invite you to join us on page 1 as we recognize how wonderful to be together this Shabbat.
Hinei matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachai. Hinei matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachai. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, shalom aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Hinei matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad.
And we continue a little further down page 1 as we continue with words of the Psalms, Lechu Nuranana, sing out to God, the maker of all sure and strong.
Lechu neranana l'Adonai, nariya letzor ishenu. Lechu neranana l'Adonai, nariya letzor ishenu. Nekadama fanav betoda bezmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranana l'Adonai, nariya letzor ishenu. Nekadama fanav betoda bezmirot nariya lo. Bezmirot nariya lo.
I now understand why Jews don't tend to sit in the front row, because when you do so, you might be asked to do something. Now, it is an honor, of course, as we turn in our prayer book to page 2, to invite Joan Rothis forward to help us kindle the lights of Shabbat, to welcome the warmth, the light, the blessing of Shabbat to be with us this day. Yeah, there's no safety, you just pull back. Excellent.
Spoke too soon. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
In continuing just a smidge lower on the page, if it is comfortable for you to do so, we invite you to rise as we join together in our blessing over the sweetness in this day of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim. And please, you are welcome to be seated as we continue on page 3, words of Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath itself to be with us in this sacred space.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmiyanu el ha'michad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shemo tiferet v'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'lecha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki varech kumi ori, uri, uri, shirta
and might rise as you are able as we face the setting sun.
בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה.
Getting to be outside on such a beautiful evening brings a sense of sacredness to this already joyous community. Why don't we take this opportunity, having welcomed Shabbat, to turn to those beside us, to welcome those with whom we pray this evening. Turn to your neighbor, wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
Yes. How are you doing? Isn't it outside? But good. Nice to see you. Yes. Very nice to see you. Oh, good. That's nice.
We would invite you to be seated, but in about 30 seconds, we're going to invite you to stand back up. The choice is yours. Informed choice is what the Reform movement is all about. We're on page 4.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ואלמדי ברכירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון ויומי חון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמר קודשו בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירה מלה, ויאמרו אמן.
We continue with our Baruch Hu praise on page 5.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yeah, I lie. Yeah, la, 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 la. 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 Yeah, la, la,
giving thanks for this beautiful world with the onset of evening. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishaneh itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakochavim b'mishmeroteham barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or umavir yom umevi layla umavdil ben yom uvein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And in the English in the middle of page 6, everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Now you are welcome to comfortably be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושילנתם לבבך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On the top now of page 8, words of our Mi Chamocha praise, and the words from the Song of the Sea expressing gratitude as our ancestors did.
Like you, who is like you, who is like you, Adonai, who is like you, Adonai. When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai
you join us now in the English of our Hashkivenu praise, asking for God's sense of shelter, God's sense of peace to descend on us and all who are in need with the onset of evening. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
We transition from asking for a sense of peace to asking that Shabbat brings a sense of joy into our lives. And on the top of page 9, as we sing together words of Vishamru, you'll hear that change in melody as well, going from that which is more peaceful to that which is more joyous, praying that Shabbat is a joy in all of our lives.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Ubayom hashevi Shabbat vayinafash. Ubayom hashevi Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, l'dorotam berit olam.
On the bottom of page 9 and the following pages, we find our Shabbat evening Amidah. If it is comfortable for you to do so, we invite you to rise at this time in body or in spirit, as together we join in prayer.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arise in the world, scattering song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. Eternity utters a day. Yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Adonai, Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Behanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Gehula Livnei B'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Marit Atah, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishaynei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umidam Elach, Melech Melit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, V'kadoshim b'chol yom yahaleluhu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
You are welcome to be seated as we invite you to join us in the English on the bottom of page 12. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. We continue on page 13 with a prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amecha, Tasim, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amecha, Tasim, Tasim Le'olam. Ki atah hu melech adon, lechol hashalom, lechol hashalom. Ki atah hu melech adon, lechol hashalom, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim, Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, et amcha Yisrael. Uv'chol shah lishlomecha, lishlomecha. Shalom Rav,
of that peace now in our hearts, we turn on page 14. We're asking for a sense of peace, asking for a sense of wholeness, asking for a sense of healing for those who are in need. If you are thinking of a loved one in need of our Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayers for healing this evening, I would invite you to share their name aloud if you are comfortable doing so, as my eyes meet yours. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. And together we say, Amen.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBaracha May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imoteinu Mekor HaBracha Lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
When we were outside 1 week ago in Berg Park for Shabbat, it was hot. I was pretty sure by this point in the service I had sweated through the shirt that I was wearing hot. And believe it or not, starting Sunday, all next week, it's supposed to be 90 degrees here in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be hot. But I can read the outdoor room well enough right now to know that it's a little bit cool for many who are joining us in person. And so I will endeavor to keep all of the essentials and shrink tonight's remarks down just a smidge. This part is part of the historical record. Shmuel HaNagid, beginning in the year 1036, was the vizier, was the advisor, hey you, to the king of Spanish Granada, to...
Come on, bud. Here we go. Come on.
Eli, sweetie, it is a pleasure to see you. Can you join us in that chair right there? Thank you.
Let's want to get airlifted. You want to get airlifted?
All right.
Come on.
Thank you, sweetie. Remember that children are our future, even when they are shoeless and running amok. As I was saying, Shmuel HaNagid is the vizier in 1036. Until his death, he had happened to help the Muslim king of Spanish Granada ascend to the throne over his older brother. He received a place of prominence in the king's court, and it was not uncommon for them to go walking together. That much is part of the historical record. Wikipedia it. I doubt the story that follows is. It's told of Shmuel HaNagid as he was walking with the king that one of the merchants outside of the walls of the palace was particularly jealous that a Jewish man had the ear of the king. He began to increase his level of obscenities, shouted at Shmuel HaNagid, growing in his anger, growing in his rhetoric, growing in his anti-Semitism, until finally the Muslim king who appointed him said, "It's time to do something about this. And because it is you that he has been antagonizing, you get to make a choice as to what his punishment should be." Shmuel HaNagid thought about it and said, "My king, I would ask you to allow me to forgive this man's behavior, for I hope that by forgiving him, he might come to hate me less. For I know if I were to seek vengeance, if I were to seek punishment, it would only cause him to hate me more and not improve my situation." Today, tomorrow, the first days of the Hebrew month of Elul, the time of spiritual preparation, preparing for the Yamim Noraim, for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur in the days ahead. We think about the wrongs we have done as we prepare for that most sacred time. We think about wrongs that have been done to us. We ask for forgiveness, and we reach deep within ourselves, as Shmuel HaNagid did, to begin the process of forgiving others, that we might approach the high holy days with clean consciences, with clean hearts, ready to enter into prayers, ready to enter into the year 5784, ready to enter into the book of life. Shabbat Shalom. I can tell you a lot more about Shmuel HaNagid. I can draw that story out for another 5 minutes. We can talk a lot more about Elul after the service, should you desire. We turn now back in our prayer books, back in our Sidurim, as we find words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. These words can be found on the bottom of page 14, and when you find your page, we would invite you to rise if it is comfortable for you to do so.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'teit la'liotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We invite you to be seated, as it is an honor now to invite one or more Iskos forward to lead us in a prayer, to lead us in a reading in preparation for Mourner's Cottage.
The light of life is a finite flame, like the shut candles. Life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more.
In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life.
It is a beautiful custom to be able to remember a loved one. And there's a beautiful custom at Temple Emanuel, though it is the Reform movement's tradition to all rise as we recite words of Mourner's Kaddish. Perhaps in doing so, supporting those who mourn or remembering those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Sometimes we can lose sight of those who mourn in our midst. And indeed, as we read the names that we are remembering this Shabbat, many might choose to recite with me the name of their loved one, that we might recognize you in this time of your grief. And indeed, when we get to their name, as you hold their memory, we invite you to do so. Though we have lost too many in recent days in the midst of our congregation, custom is to recite this prayer only for those whose burial services and funerals have already taken place. In this Shabbat, we observe the period of Shloshim, the days of mourning after the passing of Donald Philip Sadkin, Lisa Silberman, and Gloria Ulmer. And we mark the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of Sarah Amster, Harriet Burke, Ida London Burke, Ruth Brufsky, Alan Cobbett, Dorothy Koppelman Cohn, Anne Gold Cooper, Charlotte B. Cooper, Peter Cooper, Lena Ehrenrich, Ruth Ehrenrich, Shirley K. Farron, Grace Fivers, Rose Bremen Grass, Gertrude Heater, Richard Hutchinson, Otto D. Kent, Samuel Kindler, Herbert M. Cohn, Bernard M. Levin, Mark Levin, Henry Lightman, Ruth A. Mates, Bernice Moskowitz, Aaron Natboni, Wendy Rosenberg, Esther Rosen, Samuel Routman, Sonia Rubenstein, Pearl Seltzer, Sue Tadish, Abe Leonard Trachtenberg, Albert Vaverka, Ronald Watsman, Gloria Weiss, and Harry Weiser. If there are others whom you are remembering this Shabbat, or if I have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, I would invite you to share their names at this time. Yehei zichronam livracha. May all of their memories be for us an everlasting blessing. Words of Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's prayer, can be found on page 15. And indeed, in sympathy and support with those who mourn, we invite everyone to rise as we affirm these words. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu le'ela v'yinkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God make peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for all who mourn this day. You are welcome to be seated. Thank you for your forbearance as we join in the courtyard this evening. If you join us outdoors next week, the elevated body temperature will offset the lowered body temperature. You'll be just right joining us multiple weeks in a row. But truly, it is a pleasure to be outdoors in this beautiful space together, and we welcome welcome you. A special thank you to Cantor Calix Jacobson, who I get to both thank and continue the process of introducing, though you will soon need no more introduction. After like 6 months, I promise to knock it off. We are so welcome. You are so welcome. We are so grateful to have Cantor Calix joining us, leading us in worship as our teacher, as a leader in our community. We're grateful as well to Leslie and to Joe. He's good for this part. I don't have to do much. And indeed, grateful to all who have joined us in sacred community and here with us. We are on page 16 for our closing song, Words of Olam Chesed. We hope you will join with us.
This world from love. And you must build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love.
Eli and I had to check in with Leslie to check on the sweet treat as we feed our bodies, as we feed our souls. Indeed, I'm told it will soon roll out right behind me. If you stay right where you are, the cookies will come to you. How much better does it get? Shabbat Shalom. Right?